Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Trainer Talk. Today we're going to be talking about something that is one of my favorite topics. It's about the top 5 habits that you need to live a healthy lifestyle. These are just our recommendations or our top 5 for our daily lives, and hopefully we can help you guys start to implement these and achieve your goals and live a healthier lifestyle. So to start out, number 1 is just going to be exercise in general. There's 2 categories to this. We want to see people incorporating resistance training as well as just daily movements or general activity. So a recommendation for this is going to be at least 3 days a week where you're doing some kind of resistance training. So lifting weights, body weight machines, coming in and doing classes, anything that you're providing some load and working pretty much every body part or muscle group every week. If you're only doing 3 days, typically we recommend a full body workout for those 3, and you might have like a day off in between. So for example, a typical split might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday resistance training. So you're working your general exercise on those off days. So the other days where you're not doing your workout, you're gonna just maybe go for a quick walk, a run, bike, swim, maybe yoga or stretching at home, body weight circuit at home, something just to move. It could be just maybe 20 to 45 minutes. And that's really going to help you not only reach your goals, but just develop the consistency of getting in exercise, developing that discipline of doing it every day, and you'll just feel a lot better. So.
Yeah, my tips for fitness, the importance of it, has to do with you're going to be building the muscle with the resistance training those 3 days of the week, and then the other days it's basically just to help burn more calories. So it allows you to eat more to fuel that exercise, because we do want to get all of the micronutrients. We all want to get enough of the carbs, the proteins, and the fats, and it's hard to do that when if you're sitting all day and you're not working out, you're not burning a ton of calories. So in order to get all of the protein and all of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that your body needs to be the most healthy that it can, adding some walks in or some other general exercise. You can go bike rides, hikes, you can go and play basketball, you can do other things that you really like to do that would be general exercise, playing with your kids. That's a bonus then. If you play with your kids, then your kids are going to get exercise, be healthy. You guys are going to get to bond. Even just throwing a ball back and forth, that's still better than sitting on the couch and playing video games. Of throwing a ball back and forth in video games. So that would be my importance of those 2 different tips, and then we can kind of move on to tips later.
I have one more tip for getting in daily movement is to make it a priority. We do what we prioritize in life, and so for me, I've said this before on videos, but it's literally part of my work day. My workout or my whatever you're doing, you have to schedule it in as part of your work day, and your day is not over until you've completed that. And that just, if you set it as a top priority, it's going to make sure that you get it done every single day. If it's not a priority, then you're more likely to just say, well, I didn't get to it today, I'll try again tomorrow. But if it's not a priority tomorrow, then you may not do it tomorrow either. And then eventually, once you just kind of force yourself to make it a priority every single day, that's when it becomes a habit. That's when you don't even think about it and you just go and do it every single day.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that that's when it becomes a habit, because all these things that we're talking about they're not habits until you can consistently do it without really having to think about it. So she mentioned that it was just a part of her lifestyle, it's a part of her identity. So for all these things that we're mentioning, I want to add on top of that, you have to practice these for an extended period of time consistently in order for it to actually become a habit. So until then, you're just kind of trying these things out. So make sure that you're actually practicing these. I would say for at least 6 months before it's ingrained into your schedule, and into where you don't have to think about it anymore, basically, where it just becomes a part of your identity. So Bethany mentioned nutrition. You don't want to not do anything those days you're not resistance training, because if you do eat the same amount, then you're going to end up not really getting where you want to, because you might be overeating on those days that you're not doing the resistance training. So I'm glad that she mentioned that, and that also leads us into our next habit, which is nutrition. So just to keep it very simple for you guys, our recommendation and kind of how we do it is three main meals, and then 2 to 3 healthy snacks that are in between those meals if needed. So the reason we do that is just because a lot of people are too busy to have 4 to 6 small meals, even though that could be a better option. Many people just don't have the time to make or prep or sit down and eat 4 to 6 small meals throughout the day that are smaller in portion size. So I really am a big fan of just healthy snacks that are very, very easy on the go, and then I'll still have my 3 main meals. So we would call this like a 3x2 or 3x3, and you just want to eat whole, unprocessed foods, and we primarily shoot for hitting a specific amount of calories, give or take a couple hundred. You don't have to be extremely strict, but as long as your average in a week is a little bit less than your intake, if you're trying to lose weight, if it's at what you should be, you're going to maintain your results, and if it's above what you should be, you're either going to build muscle or gain fat, depending on what you're doing with resistance training. So we want to shoot for the calorie goal, and then also protein is probably going to be our second most important. Especially if you're exercising every day and you're doing those resistance training, you want to feed the muscle and repair the muscle. So a very, very easy rule of thumb is just maybe 0.75 or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Ideally, it would be more like 1 to 1.25 grams of lean body mass, but you would have to come in and like do a body scan or try to figure out what your lean body mass is. So for example, just as a rule of thumb, I'm 195 pounds. I'm going to try to have like 150 to 200 grams of protein pretty much in a day. So very easy math, just do that for yourself. And then to go along with the nutrition, I also wanted to throw in hydration, so water intake. Start out with at least 64 ounces of water. Ideally, you want to be at half your body weight in ounces of water, just to make sure you're getting enough water in, you're staying hydrated, and with that water, you actually do need a lot of electrolytes, especially if you're working out regularly, exercising and doing resistance training. So make sure you're getting the sodium, potassium, magnesium through your foods, or you can add it to your water as well.
Yeah. One thing with the habits of nutrition and just food and eating in general, it tends to center around people either eat out of boredom, they eat out of emotional hunger rather than physical hunger. Like if they get stressed out at work, then they base whatever food choices they make off of what's quickest, what's easiest, and what tastes the best, and what's going to make them feel good. And they're using their nutrition as a tool to almost numb them from whatever stress or problems that they have in life. So some people have that sort of a negative habit that's going on in the background when they are trying to stick to a better nutrition plan. They're trying to have the better structure, follow it. So kind of identifying the underlying reasons for those different habits, bad or good, is an important step, in my opinion. Now, building a good nutrition habit is going to take, looking at, okay, if I do have a bad habit of stopping at McDonald's every day, is there something I can replace this with? Or how can I interrupt that habit? Maybe you can take a different way home from work. So that'd be one tip, is take a different way home from work where you don't drive through all the fast food options. Another way is if you always have a jar of candy sitting out on your countertop, and every time you go by you grab one because you see it, and then you grab, and then you get that reward. So what you can do there is just, if you don't want to keep it out of the house because your husband likes it, or wife, or kids, you can put it in a cupboard. So you're not seeing it all the time, getting that constant visual stimulus to have the candy or have the pie or whatever sitting out. So by just moving it out of your vision, I think that's a big tip for people to reverse the bad nutrition habits that they've developed over the years. That's probably the number one thing for fixing it. And then number 2 tip would be tracking. You kind of touched on the protein and the calories, but even if just track what you're already doing. And I think a lot of people just aren't quite aware of the little snacks that they take throughout the day. I've fallen guilty to this before, grabbing a spoonful of peanut butter here or there, or a handful of nuts, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's an extra 500 calories from, these little snacks throughout the day that you don't realize that you're eating or consuming. You just kind of see it at that one instance. But if you track it, if you track everything and you track it diligently and build the habit of tracking, then you're able to build other habits off of that. So like first focus on tracking and knowing where you're at, and then you can build the habit, okay, now I'm gonna go for my protein and calorie goal. And then you can always build it on from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip because I don't track consistently. It's not something that I really need to do anymore, but it is something that I've done in the past and will do every once in a while because it really is a great eye-opener to see, like, okay, am I under my calories? Because that also happens a lot. We have a lot of people who aren't losing weight because they're not eating enough, or maybe they're eating enough but we're not eating the right foods. So I think that is a really good, just like visual to kind of see where you're at. And I just also want to second Bethany's, like, when you have candy or whatever it is out for you to see, like, we're all human, so we all do it. I know, like, over this past weekend, we had donuts in our house from our wedding, and I grabbed one every single day because it's right there in front of me. Like,
Yep.
I'm human too. So that is just one of my biggest tips is if I don't want to eat it every day, I don't keep it in the house. And honestly, like, if you have a husband or wife or kids who complain about it, I feel like that's kind of just their own problem, and they need to keep it somewhere else that you don't even know where it's at if that's really important to them, because I just think it's just too easy to just grab it when it's there. Even if it's in a cupboard, it does help, but if you still
long as you don't know where it's at.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
still know that it's there, you still might go
Yeah.
and grab it.
Right.
So I just think not having it in the house at all is kind of just the thing, but then maybe on the weekend you go and have a donut or whatever it is. Don't totally deprive yourself, but I think we just really overcomplicate nutrition, but really you just need to, like, I think having knowledge about food and what it's doing to your body really helps. Like, learning about what processed food does to your body and learning about what whole foods do to your body, which is something that, you can Google it and learn, or you can hire a coach and learn, but just kind of, I know for me that was a big eye-opener, was just learning what certain foods do for my body. It helps you stay away from the things that are crap.
Yeah.
So,
I like that you brought up, like, I wanted to just kind of add on to that, like, make unhealthy foods an inconvenience and make healthy foods a convenience for you. So have out on the counter bananas and apples and, fruit in the fridge, easy things that you can grab when you're hungry, and don't have any of those treats. If you're craving ice cream or something, like, you should have to drive to the store or drive to Dairy Queen to go get it, because that's pretty inconvenient. You might be able to talk yourself out of it if you have to actually go to the store to get it. So just cleaning up the environment, like they said, is going to be a game changer on your results. Our next habit is going to be sleep, and sleep kind of trumps everything. If you're eating really well and you're working out a lot, but you're getting very, very poor sleep every night, you actually won't achieve the results that you want. Sleep is very, very important. It's where the fat loss happens. It's where the recovery and the growth of our muscles happens. It's where the recovery of our mind happens. So you have to make sure that you're getting really good quality sleep. We recommend, obviously, this kind of norm is 6 to 8 hours, but people still get 6 to 8 hours, but it's very light sleep. And the reason is because they might not be eating very good, so they might eat way too much sugar, for example, and their brain's just fired up and they don't fall into that deep or REM sleep. Another reason is screen time. If you're watching Netflix in bed right up until you fall asleep, and you fall asleep and it plays half the night, that blue light is actually keeping your body from making melatonin, and you're not going to fall into a deep sleep or a REM sleep. So you're just going to be in a light stage. So people that think I sleep 6 to 8 hours, you might not be getting nearly enough deep sleep or REM sleep, which are those deeper stages. So just my personal tips to help you get better deep sleep and REM sleep is going to be to make sure that you're off your screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Make sure you have some white noise in the background. I just use a fan. That'll just kind of blare out any other things that might wake you up. If there's a cars going by, or if something falls in the house, whatever, you don't want to be waking up to those things. So having the white noise just kind of helps you relax and stay in that deep sleep better. Make sure your room is cool in temperature, so you don't want it really hot, because your body will just fall into more deep sleep and REM sleep when it's cool. So ideally, I think the recommendation is like around 66 to 70 degrees, something like that. Some people like it a little bit cooler, some people like it a little bit warmer, but make sure you're not like sweating in your sleep. That'll definitely help as well. And then another thing is just have a general bedtime and wake time. Wake time, try to make it more consistent, but like try to be in bed, for example, between 9 and 10 or between 10 and 11 every night, no matter what. And then try to wake up at a similar time and don't hit snooze. That's another thing that really changed my life when I literally just said one day, I'm just gonna quit hitting snooze, and I made a promise to myself, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I can count on one hand how many times I've hit snooze since then. And it just changes your whole day. The moment you hit snooze is the moment that you're telling yourself, I don't want to start my day. I'm not ready to take on the day. So if you just don't hit snooze, you get up and you make your bed or do whatever, then you're starting your day off on a good note. So I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, I think one tip that's it's a little counterintuitive is instead of just focusing on, okay, I have to get to bed at this time so then I can wake up at this time to get this amount of sleep, put something in the morning that you look forward to, whether that's your cup of coffee, whether that is reading, 10 minutes from your favorite book, or journaling, or watching your favorite show, something that gets you excited to wake up in the morning, especially on the weekends, because you don't have your job motivating. Well, it's not really motivating you. It's more forcing you to get up and out of bed at a certain time because you have to get to work on a certain time. Otherwise, you lose your job, and that's not good. So, what you want to do is make waking up a little bit more attractive, because I think that the people fall into the trap of trying to extend their night because they want to prolong getting up in the morning. They're like, okay, I should be in bed and asleep at 9, but I want to stay up watching Netflix till 11 because I don't want to go to bed because that means I have to get up early tomorrow. And it's kind of perpetuates this endless cycle of just feeling tired and groggy in the morning. And if you don't feel good in the morning, of course you're not going to want to wake up early. So if you can kind of reprogram it so, you make bedtime attractive, reading a book or maybe watching a show and then turning the lights off for a little bit, just to have that routine start to set in, and then you start to sleep better. And once you get enough sleep and in a stable routine, like even on the weekends, like just try to stick to, maybe an hour later than you did during the week. So instead of getting up at 5 a.m. during the week, you get up at 6 a.m. on the weekends, or 6 or 7. And then, bedtimes push it back an hour later. That way you're still getting the same amount of sleep throughout the week, and your whole circadian rhythm isn't thrown off too much. And then you can have energy throughout the day, because if you get a poor night's sleep and your sleep schedule is all over the place, you're not going to have the optimal or most productive day of work, day of exercise. And if people get less than 5.5 hours of sleep, they increase their mortality rate by 30% in the next 15 years. So that's also one thing to think about. If you get 5 hours of sleep or less, that's not good for your health at all. So obviously consistently, if you keep doing that, through the days of the week, I would say if you do that every day of the week and then sleep in a ton on the weekends, it's really bad for your health. And then your nutrition, you're more likely to make poor nutrition choices when you get less sleep. That's been shown, because you just end up craving all these high-calorie, sugary foods to give you the energy that you lack because
Caffeine,
you didn't,
too.
and caffeine. And then the caffeine makes you sleep worse, especially if you have it in the afternoon. So then you have to have more caffeine the next day, or more junk, and it's an endless cycle. It's really bad. So you need to get out of the rat race, out of the bad cycle, and start, being responsible, having a set bedtime, wake time, and just basically managing and structuring your bedtimes and wake times so that it actually sets you up for success.
Yeah, I think that idea of like waking up to something that you're excited for is just key to getting yourself out of bed. Like, I don't do this every morning. Like the mornings that I have to be here really early, I don't necessarily do this. But the other mornings, just so I'm still waking up early, I always have a cup of coffee and I do like journaling and stuff and lay with my dog and on the couch with a fuzzy blanket and just like have time to myself before coming into work. And those are like my favorite days. And so I don't mind waking up early, and especially now that I'm married, waking up before Corey does, so I can just have like some alone time. Not that I love having love when he's there, but you know, just like if you're not a super great morning person, just giving yourself that time to wake up before anybody else in the house gets up, whether you have kids or whatever it is. I just think, because then you're in a better mood and you're not lashing out on husband, kids, wife, whatever it is. So that was a really good tip. I really like that. And then one thing that I do is I read before bed. That gets me away from the TV. It gets me off my phone, so you're not having all that blue light exposure like Taylor talked about. And ever since I started reading before bed, like even if it's 20 minutes or a half hour, like I sleep so much better. I definitely notice a difference the nights that I don't read before I go to bed. So yeah.
This leads us into our next topic, which we've already kind of talked a lot about planning and structuring and making sure you're cleaning up your environment and setting yourself up for success. So our fourth habit is actually kind of creating a plan around the other three habits that we talked about. So you can consider this your daily routine, planning out your day, scheduling and structuring your entire day for success. So that itself is actually a habit, because you could say, I want to start eating better and sleeping better and working out, but if you don't have a plan of action, you're not going to do any of those things, right? So make sure you actually develop a schedule and plan it out, all these things. So when are you going to go to bed and wake up? What time are you going to work out? When are you going to do your meal prepping? When are you going to do your general exercises? When are you going to, schedule in like your family time, things like that. So our recommendations for clients is to actually use like Google Calendar, or literally set alarms on your phone that go off for when you need to eat your meals and snacks, when you need to get your workout in. Like put it right in your Google Calendar with a reminder, hey, I have to work out at this time. It's in there, it's scheduled, nobody's gonna take that time away from me. So planning this out is definitely going to be very, very helpful. You can also do a tactic where you habit stack. So if there's some things that you're already doing naturally on a daily basis and you wanna start doing some more healthy things, for example, you could I put my workout clothes on the bathroom floor ready to go. That way when I wake up and get ready in the morning, boom, there's my workout clothes. So they're there, I throw them in my bag and I'm ready to go. Or you could just put it in a gym bag and set it right by the front door. That way on your way up, you grab your gym bag. If you need to drink more water, if you're not drinking enough water, put a big glass of water or shaker cup of water right next to your coffee pot or next to your toothbrush. That way the first thing you do in the morning, if you drink coffee or you brush your teeth, you have your water there, you'll remember to drink it. All these things are going to be very, very helpful. We already talked about kind of like setting healthy snacks around the house. We didn't talk a whole lot about meal prep. So what I would do is schedule probably just 1 or 2 days every week where you're going to set aside like an hour or two to prep out and plan out whether it's your breakfast, your lunch, dinner, or all three. That way you have that ready to go for the day. So those are my big tips on kind of scheduling and structuring your day.
Yeah. So one thing with habits, building these routines and structures, is you have to get really good at building the habit of how to build habits. And then it kind of repeats as a cycle, because if you get really good at building habits, then you can basically control everything you do on autopilot. Because, humans are a creature of habit. Everyone says that. Whether it's in a positive way or a negative way, you can kind of manipulate that. And if you want it to be in a positive way to achieve your goals, then you want to build those habits so that way you can almost do it on autopilot, where you don't even think of it. Like for workouts, it's second nature, yeah. So for us, it's second nature. We don't even think about working out. Oh, am I going to work out today? What am I going to do? No, we just pretty much do it. If you go through all the steps that we do, it's like, okay, we put on our shoes and we drink our pre-workout and then we start kind of warming up, and it's all these little steps that lead up to it. So if you want to build the habit of working out, maybe just start with putting on your gym clothes and then, maybe drinking a pre-workout shake. Then, you're not going to drink a pre-workout shake and then not work out because you paid $60 for this pre-workout that's specially, designed to help you have a better workout. So you're not going to waste that pre-workout, so you're going to do something. So it's at least building that habit. It's like these little routines that you can kind of build out to maybe entice or make it easier to do the activity you want that's going to get you closer to your goals. Same thing with nutrition habits. Coming home and you could have your meal prep right front center in the fridge rather than in the back. Or what I do for meal prep and cooking is whatever day I go shopping, I make sure I have a couple, like an hour or two afterwards, that I'm able to, I bring my groceries home and I start meal prepping right then. Because you kind of get motivated when you're in there and you're shopping and you're like, oh, this looks good, I can make this with this, and you're already almost using like that shopper's mind and that creative mind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you're all excited about it and you're almost more motivated to do this, like cooking and stuff. But then if you buy it, put it all in the fridge, and forget about it.
Yeah.
And then the vegetables go bad and my mom's like, why did you never use this? And I said, well, I forgot about it. It was in the bottom drawer. So that's my tip, is cook it right away when you bring it home. That way you can kind of stack that habit of, okay, go shopping, cook. And then, kind of like that habit stacking is very helpful, especially. Taking new supplements, put it right by, if you already drink water in the morning, put it next to that in your coffee cup. Put it next to your toothbrush. Different little things like that we just kind of take on autopilot already, and then you just add something right to it, and it's actually fairly easy. Same thing with building routines and structures. It's probably better to do a workout early in the morning. From all the research that's been done, it doesn't really have anything to do with burning more fat or different anabolic window, anything weird like that. It's more of, you don't have as many commitments earlier in the day, and you're not going to have things that come up at the end of the day where you end up missing it or skipping it. So you're more likely to stay consistent with routines, a fitness routine that you do in the morning before work, rather than something at the end of the day, because you get tired by the end of the day. You're like, oh, I gotta do dishes, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta help the kids with homework. So if it's the end of the day, you're gonna have all these things you're thinking about, and you're like, that's why I can't go work out today. And you have to almost stack it so that you're going to have success by putting it in the morning. That's my biggest tip for when it comes to the fitness and getting the daily movement in. Just add something, even if it's 5-10 minutes in the morning, and then if you do have time later, great, do something. But at least stretching, or do some push-ups, do some sit-ups right away in the morning, and then you're at least building the habit of exercising every day that way.
Yeah, something that I do when it comes to nutrition, instead of like getting to the middle of the week and being like, I don't know what to have for dinner, I don't know what I even have in my fridge to cook, I, on the weekends, make a menu of what we're gonna have every night or every other night. I try to make enough where there's leftovers for a night or two. So I make a menu on the weekend of what we want to eat, and then I make my grocery list from that menu on what I need to go buy. I make sure I go grocery shopping either on Sunday or Monday, and then you have everything. And then you have your menu, so you remember what you were going to have, you stay on track. I know a lot of people struggle with finding time to go grocery shop, but I will tell you, Walmart or Meijer pickup is amazing. It's so easy. You literally do it right from your phone. You go grab it, you have no excuse not to go grocery shopping.
Yes, and that will also help you from buying stuff that you shouldn't.
Yeah,
exactly. If you go shopping when you're hungry, ooh, this sounds really good, this looks really good. Like if you did the pickup, you're going to avoid buying stuff that you shouldn't buy, because you get that eyesight, you see the cookies and stuff like that. Like I would do the same thing, so that would definitely help. Something that we do at our household is once we run out of something we need, start your list. Instead of waiting until the end of the week when you're completely out and then trying to remember everything, if we run out of one thing, we'll write it down on our grocery list, and then at the end of the week, our grocery list is already completely made for us. Then we're not missing anything, we're not adding anything we shouldn't. So that's just another tip for kind of planning out, making your life easier. It's pretty much what we want to do. To wrap all this up, now you've got a game plan. You're going to start exercising. You're going to start doing resistance training. You're going to start trying to get some better sleep. You're going to start trying to planning out your day. But you're not going to do any of those things if you're in a negative type of mindset. And we don't really talk about mindset enough as a habit. We talk about it a lot with our coaching and our training and stuff, but actually practicing it as a habit is something that we are just now starting to implement into our coaching strategy, because you could be doing the workouts and the nutrition, or we could be holding you accountable, whatever, but if you're in a negative type mindset and you're constantly telling yourself you don't want to do this, you're not good at it, you're never going to follow through with it, making up all these excuses, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to follow through with the plan. You're not going to actually develop these habits and make it your lifestyle and create the fitness identity that you want. So you need to practice on a daily basis things that are going to motivate you and put you into a positive mindset. So just some things that I prefer doing and I help people with is, first thing in the morning, I pop open my journal app and it has a daily quote. And usually it's some kind of influential or motivational quote to kind of put you in that positive mindset or get you excited, remind you of why you're doing what you're doing. So looking at inspirational quotes or videos, there's a million, awesome 2, 3, 4 minute YouTube motivational videos that are phenomenal for getting you motivated, getting you in that positive mindset. But also, if you constantly tell yourself that you're overweight or you're weak or you aren't smart enough, you will never become smart or strong or motivated. You're not going to actually develop that because you're constantly telling yourself. So something that you can do is just when you wake up, literally have a note and remind yourself, I am strong, or I am disciplined, or I am healthy, I am fit. Start identifying yourself as what you want to accomplish, and you will accomplish it way more easily. Another thing is, a lot of the people that we work out with, or we work with as far as personal training and coaching goes, is they might be making, progress in 5 areas, but then really lacking in 1, and that's all they focus on. They focus on the one thing that they're really struggling with. So don't focus on what's not going well. Start focusing on all the little things that are going well. If you are drinking more water, celebrate the fact that you're drinking more water. If you are exercising every day, or maybe it's just 3 days when you were doing 0, don't get mad that you're not exercising 7. Celebrate that you're actually working out 3. So start rewarding yourself and recognizing your wins, and make sure that you appreciate the efforts that you're putting in, even if you're not where you want to be yet. That's my biggest tip.
Yeah. One thing that goes along with mindset is focusing on having a little bit more of a flexible mindset rather than a perfectionist mindset. I think people can fall into the trap of, okay, I have the perfect diet, I have the perfect workout program, I have the perfect schedule lined out, blocked out, I have the perfect sleep routine, but if it's perfect and ideal, you might not be able to follow it all the time. And then that one time you're like, okay, I have to follow this or else my results won't be perfect or my results won't be optimal. And you end up letting yourself down because no one's perfect. That's the whole thing, is if everyone could follow the perfect diet, the perfect sleep routine, and the perfect structure, then we wouldn't have any problems with health, fitness.
Right.
We would be out of a job, basically.
Yeah.
So, changing a little bit to being a little more flexible, not super, I have to do this, or I must do this, or else I'm a undisciplined person, or else I'm a weak person, all these different I am this. I must do this, or else I am this. I must work out 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, or else I am unhealthy. And a lot of people end up dramatizing those different scenarios, and if you talk to a coach or you talk to a friend or a loved one, they would kind of help you to point out, to be like, well, you worked out 3 days a week, so you're still doing a lot better than we're not working out at all. And a lot of times we have to just kind of get out of our own head, out of that perfectionist mindset, and go to more of a flexible mindset of like, all right, my goal is to work out 5 days, but hey, I at least worked out 3. I'm still moving in the direction I want to be.
Yeah, I think one thing that I still do to this day is like just ask myself, like, if I don't work out today or whatever, I don't eat what I'm supposed to eat, am I going to reach my goals that I have for myself? And the answer is no. Like, you have to put in the work to reach your goals. And so whenever I am doing a super tough Metcon or whatever it is, or squatting super heavy or deadlifting super heavy, and I start to feel myself saying, like, I don't know if I can do this. You know, I felt like this the other day on Wednesday when Bethany and I worked out together for the first time in a week. I remember literally starting to think, I don't know if I can do 4 rounds of this. And I just remember during how we were doing wall balls, during my wall balls, I just started telling myself, like, you can do this. And the only way you're going to get stronger is if you do this and you finish it. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long as you finish it. So you just have to practice catching yourself in that negative mindset and changing it from, I don't know if I can do this or I can't do this, to I can do this. And that takes time to kind of get yourself to that place, to be able to change your mindset. But again, it's just something you have to practice, and it's something that I still do to this day, just to continue motivating myself and pushing myself through the hard days.
Yeah. There's a great, one of my biggest tips is like watching or listening to, reading books on people or things that can help you with discipline and becoming a better version of yourself, things like that. So one mentor that I like listening to, his name's Ed Milet. He has a book. He talks a lot about the power of one more. So, if you're feeling like you're getting stuck, or you don't think you can do it anymore, you don't think you can do all 4 rounds, tell yourself just one more day, or just one more set, or one more rep, or one more meal. Like, convince yourself to put in the effort to do it one more time. And what'll happen is you'll keep saying that, and you'll keep doing it one more day, one more day, one more day, one more day. All of a sudden, you don't have to say it anymore. It doesn't become a problem. It becomes natural. It's a habit all of a sudden. So a lot of people get stuck on the end goal too much. Like, they're not losing the weight at the rate they should be, and they want this 50-pound goal, and they're not seeing it. So they're looking way ahead of the future, and they might be a little bit discouraged and they want to give up. But if you just tell yourself, you know what, it's an obstacle in the road, it's part of the process, just commit to these habits for one more day, or commit to this meal, one more meal, or one more workout, or whatever it is. And if you keep doing that every day, because it's really easy to commit to one training session or one meal or one set one day than it is to 6 months. It's way easier. So if you just do that day after day, then all of a sudden you'll notice it becomes easier and easier and easier, and then you'll have that habit ingrained, and then you can go on and learn the next new habit. So that's another really powerful technique. And if you don't already do this, I would recommend, instead of like listening to the radio anytime you're in your car, look up like a podcast or an audio book on something that's going to make you better. So something on fitness or health or nutrition or sleep or motivation, accountability, discipline, all those things. Start listening to people that can teach you how to be better in all of these areas of your life. It's made a huge impact on us. I know Bethany's a huge advocate on listening to podcasts. She actually enjoys her 35-minute drive to and from work every day because
Sometimes twice.
Yeah, twice, because she gets to listen to podcasts and audiobooks, and she learns while she's driving. Another perfect example of habit stacking.
Yep.
If you have to drive somewhere every day and you get traffic, at least learn something while you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just listening to music and nodding off into space and just getting aggravated or whatever. So another really powerful tool. That's another big recommendation on just developing a positive mindset. And just to lastly cap off mindset, motivation lasts like a second. You're never going to be motivated for the rest of your life. It literally comes down to discipline. And comes right back to what I said about one more day. Just be disciplined to do all these habits that we talked about. And eventually, if you stay disciplined, it becomes second nature. We don't have to think about working out. It's built into our schedule. We don't have to think about eating healthy. It's built into our routine. We don't have to think about getting good night's sleep because we built the habits around it. We already naturally know what to do, and we do it every single day without thinking. So just stay disciplined, try these out, and hopefully it really helps you get some amazing results. So if you need a plan kind of built around your current lifestyle, you need help with this, that's what we do. We are your accountability. We are your motivation. We will teach you the habits and implement it into your current schedule and help you build that plan, teach you fitness and nutrition. So don't hesitate to reach out, schedule a free consultation with us, and we'll talk to you guys about this. Until then, hopefully we'll see you soon. Stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.